So we will be taking you back in time and talking about a woman who was buried in her car. Okay, so what's up, everybody? It's your girl B Octavia.
And it's your girl Ombre Alerts.
And this is Sister Talk.
Okay.
And why is this Sister Talk? Why are we doing that?
We are doing Sister Talk because these days
sisters don't talk. Okay? They don't have healthy dialogues.
Healthy
they don't
conversations.
have positive things to say to each other.
Yeah, they don't.
And that's what we are here to do. This is my big sister, where I get a lot of my strength and guidance from. So her information will be down below. But basically what we are doing today is we are taking you back in time, like both of us like to do.
Yes.
And it's one of our favorite things to do. So I was thinking about content that we could do, and we talk about a lot of current events, right? But both of us take our audiences back in time, okay? But we do it differently. But I wanted us to come together and it be a very special occasion, right? So we will be taking you back in time and talking about a woman who was buried in her car. Now, we are not talking about a murder, okay?
No.
You might go there because I go there a lot on my channel over here. I go there a lot. But we are not taking you through a murder. We are taking you through a very odd burial request. And we will discuss the woman behind this very odd request. But before we do that, let me just shout out a channel real quick. In figuring out what we wanted to do, I was just thinking, like, it's going to have to be something that's very interesting. Something that's, like, not open closed. You know what I'm saying? I don't like stories like that. No. Take me through it. Let's get into it. You know what I'm saying? Let's figure it out. And let's make our own conclusions. That's what it's all about. We paying respect to the people of the past, but we're going to talk about it and give our opinion, and we want to hear y'all.
It's all about, like, critical thinking.
Right. That's critical thinking. I want to shout out a channel because a lot of people wouldn't know that I watch this channel, I support this channel, I fuck with it, you know what I'm saying, in lack of a better word. The channel is Lamont at Large. And basically what he does is he goes to various cemeteries all across the world, and he walks through and he pays respects to individuals. He tells their stories, and I feel like it's a dope thing to do.
Yeah, that's cool.
He actually makes me want to do that one day, like have that be like something special that I do. Just paying respect to the people that lived a life before we even knew, you know?
We used to do that, like, every year on the anniversary of Michael Jackson's death. We used to go downtown and we would talk about, like, watching Michael Jackson on TV and just our fondest moments. Right.
So, in paying respects, I really love his channel. I love what he does. One video that I remember vividly is him walking through and taking his audience through where they supposedly took Emmett Till and tortured him. Rest in peace to Emmett Till. And that was a very powerful video to do, you know. And him being of a different race, especially, I appreciated it because it would have been very emotional for me to do. It would have been hard for me to put aside that I'm black as well. You know what I'm saying? The anger that goes into that. So I respected him being a Caucasian and just like taking us through, you know, and his voice is very calming and soothing and things. So it was a whole vibe. So shout out to Lamont at Large. His channel will be listed below as well. So shout out to him. So let's get into this video, shall we?
It's spicy. Let's do it.
It is.
Let's do it.
So today we will be talking about a socialite, a Beverly Hills socialite by the name of Sandra West. And as I knew her, she was the woman who was buried in her car. And Lamont at Large actually went to her grave site. It's basically, because of the concrete, it's easily identifiable as, the grass will not grow.
Oh, the grass isn't greener on this side. No. Okay.
The grass cannot and will not grow on that plot. So it doesn't look very appealing, and it's very easily identifiable if you want to go and if you want to, you know, pay your respects and maybe lay flowers or something. But yeah, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look that good. So that's what I will say. But let's move on to the story, getting to know her and things to that nature.
And she was compared to an early Paris Hilton, just to give you like a picture of her being a socialite. People compared her to an earlier Paris Hilton, so she mixed and mingled with the rich and the famous in the 70s.
On May 17th, 1977, just a tip. It's just a tip. I'm gonna edit. Beverly Hills socialite Sandra West, who was also a widow of Texas oil tycoon Ike West, was positioned in a concrete box, placed in a grave, and covered with cement. She was also buried wearing her favorite lingerie. And she was sitting upright in a powder blue 1964 Ferrari 300 America. Okay, so one of her favorite cars, in her favorite lingerie, sitting upright in a car.
It screams premeditated.
Yeah, it just...
This is all thought out.
Yeah, it's very thought out.
It's to the T.
It's to the T. It's to the T where it's like...
It's creepy.
You had to have known that you was going to do what you did to yourself.
Right.
We'll get to that.
She died March the 10th, 1977, and she was buried May the 17th, 1977. So in between her passing, because she took her own life via a drug overdose, so in between her passing away, there was a court order so that she could initiate her request to be buried in a car. So she had to wait to get a court order first in order for this whole thing to actually be thought out and executed.
You're right.
So in between this, she was entombed in a mausoleum. And she, you know, rigor mortis basically means that the body stiffens after death. So in order for her to be sit upright in a car, they would have to keep her in that same position. So in between March and May, she was encased in this mausoleum, meaning that she was sitting upright in her lingerie the whole time, maybe a month and a half before she was actually placed in the ground and buried. Oh my God. Are you joking?
That's not comfortable.
That doesn't sound comfortable or peaceful
or plausible or I don't even think anything like that would even be possible in today's time. I don't even think that the government would even allow anything like that. I mean, but who's to say? Money can pay for a lot of things. Yeah.
And she had a lot of it. She had a lot of it.
And as sad as funerals are, you know, Sandra's was not sad. Sandra's funeral was not like a normal funeral, although the head of the directory of the funeral home, he said that he tried to keep this situation
being less of a scandal.
Yeah, basically, as much as possible, you know, due to the circumstances.
Right.
And that's something I bet that she didn't consider, but it's like, do you want people to just talk about you after death in that way? I would want people to talk about a legacy and not talk about me being encased in cement and in this car, and because it's not as glamorous as you may say that it, like, oh, I'll be buried in a car. Well, it's concrete everywhere. That's not cute. You know what I'm saying?
It's no greenery. It's no life there.
And maybe she didn't want, like, you know, like she didn't want things to be able to penetrate in, and I don't know. I'm just trying to think about it, but I don't know. It was a long time ago. Not really.
No.
Not really.
No.
I can say that, but not really. So,
I mean, they say the 70s and the 80s are crazy, but this takes...
That takes the cake.
This is up there.
Yeah.
This is up there.
Takes the cake for sure.
I'm trying to tell you, this is up there.
So, as sad as funerals go, like I said, Sandra's was not. There was no family, friends, mourners, grievers of any, you know, because Kim Kardashian and them, they gonna have mourners, grievers,
as well as spectators,
and they ain't really had no
reporters.
talent. It's like a socialite thing too, right? So it was nobody mourning or grieving over her passing. It was reporters and news coverage and things like that.
That's even more strange that there was no priest in attendance to a funeral.
To at least say a few words.
Some of the people even that were there were saying, like, I just wanted to see how it was going to work. Like, actually, the process of the car being encased in, her being encased in the car, and then the...
And I read up on that, and the... You know, they say 6 feet under, right?
Yeah, hers was 9.
You're even lower than a lot of people, you know? And that's sad.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad that you don't think about things like that. Because if you're thinking about it deep, you should have thought about it that deep, you know?
And she had time to think about it because this was her request per 1972.
And she unfortunately killed herself.
Yeah.
She died of a overdose. And taking you through the timeline of that, after her death, not many people had nice things to say. You know, before her death, she became quite reclusive. She backed away from the socialite world. She really wasn't, I mean, she was in a socialite world for a while, but not really. Like, not as long as a Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
Okay? And we'll take you through that as well. Now, after her death, not a lot of people had nice things to say. I read somewhere where somebody described her as having psychotic behavior, hallucinations, and tendencies towards paranoia. And we don't know what they exactly meant. We don't know if they were being dramatic, because that's how the times were. You can say paranoia if somebody isn't diagnosed with paranoia or hallucinations. I'm not going to make that type of, because it could have been drug induced, right?
I mean, it probably was.
Right.
It probably
and
was.
Long-term drug abuse, popping pills and things like that can cause that type of thing. It was the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So it's no telling. Her husband, Ike West, passed away
in 1968. He also had struggles with drug abuse, and he was an oil tycoon, so he had money. And he was in attendance of the Flamingo Hotel at the time of his death, which he died of mysterious causes. So no one knows what happened to him. But in his will and inheritance, he left her $5 million at the time of his death. So she inherited that after he died.
And this is what I picked up on. So, in doing research on her background and her childhood, because that's something that I really focus in on. I feel like that's where a person, that's where a person builds who they really... You know, that's where it starts.
Yeah, right.
So, in doing that research, Sandra West was always, as I would put it, well taken care of. Her parents worked very hard and they owned a business. It was a children's clothing store. Okay. Whether they made the clothes or just, you know, a department store, we don't know. But you know, they made money. They lived in Beverly Hills. You know, that's where she come from.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so that's where she comes from.
It's the privilege of the privilege.
Yeah, so they work damn hard.
Yeah.
So respect to them. Big shout out to the parents. She was always well taken care of. But after she got with Ike West, that's where she really got on the map. But that's not where she really took the socialite shit. Oh, let me rephrase that. I'm trying to stop cursing as much.
It's hard.
Yeah. So she didn't really take it as serious as she did after his death.
Oh, okay.
And I respect her for that, because at least she was, or tried to be, a damn good wife.
Right.
You know, to her husband for as long as they were married.
Right.
So respect to her for that. Now, after Ike passed away of mysterious circumstances in the 60s. So she lived about 10 years after
68.
that. So she had about 10 years after that. So 9 years. Whatever. I'm not that good at math, but something like that. So she started to really mingle with celebrities, and she moved into her own Beverly Hills mansion, and that's where she really started to let her freak flag fly. She started to let her personality out more, and she started to really get in her bag, as people say now. Well, I don't really think that she was ever prepared for that,